after Scottie won at the Memorial, he and Jack Nicklaus are doing a joint press conference, and they address directly the prospect of whether they are or are not, or in Jack's case, were or was not, a scoreboard watcher.
No, it was a great week. It's always special being able to come here and play Mr. Nicklaus's tournament, and the golf course was a great test this week. The rough was as healthy as I'd seen it. We've had that length of rough before, but not the thickness. I mean, it was pretty nasty, and it was a good challenge, and it's definitely fun to be sitting here.
Scottie's right about the rough. The rough was, we had a wet spring. You're going to find the same rough at Oakmont. I mean, it's the same grass, it'll be the same thing, all through the whole Midwest. And I think we were lucky to get through the week with some of the weather we had and some of the odd conditions. And but what it did is created a different condition every day. We didn't have 2 days alike, and your champion is the one who manages all those conditions. And Scottie managed them. Scottie didn't play, for him, spectacular golf. He played what he should do. He played good, solid, smart golf. And, 370s and a 68, that's pretty good golf under the conditions that were out there. And, that's what the best player in the world does. He comes out and does things the right way and manages it, and he sees who's on the leaderboard and who's challenging him, and I'm sure you watch the leaderboard, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to know who's out there. You got to know what they're doing. You got to know what you have to do, and he did. We're so proud to have Scottie not only as a champion last year, but again this year. We're very happy for him too. Obviously, very happy for him.
The thing about leaderboard watching is sometimes I think it's harder to not look at the leaderboard than it is to look at it. I mean, the leaderboards are right there on the golf course, and I think it'd be more of a challenge for me not to look at them, and so that would be almost more of a distracting thing. So it's kind of nice to have an understanding of where guys are at on the leaderboard, and it's not going to change the way I play unless, like I said, I'm 5 shots back on the back nine. I might change a line or two going into some pins, but overall, I mean, when you're looking at a 72-hole tournament, if I'm thinking properly and hitting the correct shots, I should have a decent chance there on Sunday. And so when it comes to playing a tournament, I try and bring the same level of intensity to Thursday as you do Sunday. And so when you come out here late on Sunday, nothing really changes for me because I try to bring that intensity to the first tee on Thursday.
All right, take a look at this. This is a graphic that Andrew put together on the accomplishments of Scottie Scheffler so far in his career. And I'm using this as a pretext to what you're going to hear from Scottie and Jack Nicklaus in just a moment about killer instincts of champions. Scottie Scheffler, for those of you that are listening to us in the radio side, is a 3-time major champion. He's won the Masters, of course, twice in 22 and 24. He just won the PGA Championship. He was the Olympic gold medalist in 2024. That was at the Paris Games. 16 PGA Tour wins now to his credit. He's represented the United States twice on the Ryder Cup team. He's represented the United States twice as part of the President's Cup team. FedEx Cup champion in 2024. 3-time PGA Tour Player of the Year. And of course, he's number 1 in the official world golf rankings. So from there, we go back to these two champions talking about the elusive, the killer instinct.
Great players are ones who rise to the occasion and ones who know how to play coming down the stretch in important events. And, looking at the leaderboard today, he didn't have, Ben Griffin's a nice player. Sepp Straka is a nice player. Nick Taylor's a nice player. Those are all the guys that were there basically coming down the stretch. But he knows that those guys, are not in his league. Now, if he'd have had, I don't know who else it might have been, but if somebody else at the top, or Xander or somebody like that would have been there, he might have said, well, that might be a little tougher. I might have to do something. He didn't have to. And I think I just asked Scottie if he watched the leaderboard. He says, yeah, I do. I said, well, I did too. I always watched the leaderboard and found out what my competition was. And I always felt like what level I had to play to fight that competition off. And sometimes you didn't have to fight it off because you knew they'd self-destruct. And so, So you just don't make dumb mistakes and play solid golf, and you win. And he is such a good player, and he drove the ball beautifully today. Like he said, he drove the ball, but he never put himself in jeopardy. He didn't put himself in a position to lose the golf tournament. He was always in a position to win. And if he had to do something more spectacular, he was in a position to do so, but he didn't have to. So you don't take any chances to do that.
Just curious on maybe a level 1 to 10, what is your level of competitive killer instinct?
I mean, I have no idea.
He didn't need any. No, seriously, he doesn't. I mean, he's enough. I'll answer for you. You're enough of a competitor, and you're a good competitor, that he'll compete to what he has to do. I mean, he doesn't want to tell you, he wouldn't want to brag about what he does, but he has the ability to bring his level to whatever level it needs to be. That's what good players do. And, he's not good players, he's great players. I mean, look at the record that he has had the last few years. It's unbelievable.
Think about that for a second. You've got Jack Nicklaus speaking for you, speaking about how you are a great player and how great players do whatever they have to do. It's mind-blowing. Going back to the conversations that we're hearing from the two great champions of Scottie Scheffler and Jack Nicklaus in the wake of Scottie defending at the Memorial and what has now suddenly turned into a season kind of on the search by the standards we were expecting from last year of Scottie Scheffler to one up being very much on the ascent and being just around the corner from the U.S. Open on the men's side. Can you discount Scottie Scheffler now at all? Or is he definitely and definitively, if not the favorite, one of the top 2 or 3 favorites at the very, very least? So Jack and Scottie were asked about, when did Scottie believe that he could be this dominant?
I don't really think about that stuff, to be honest with you. I treat each tournament individually, and every tournament's different, and I try to do my best to come out here and compete, and that's what I love to do. I love being able to play the PGA Tour, and I love being able to compete against the best players in the world and play on great golf courses like this one, and be able to play in these legacy tournaments like Mr. Palmer's tournament, Mr. Nicklaus's tournament. It's really hard to put into words what it's like sitting up here with arguably the greatest player of all time, and we're sitting here talking about stuff that I did today on his golf course. It's a pretty weird feeling. It is. I came here when I was in college. My dad and I, I would play in the U.S. Open qualifier, and we would come here sometimes for the tournament. I can't remember if it was usually before or after, but I think we would maybe come in on Friday or Saturday for the Monday tournament and come out and watch the tournament out here. And I always just dreamed of playing these tournaments. I never think about dominating. It's a waste of time for me to think about that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to be the best that I can be and work hard and use the gifts that I have for good. And that's pretty much it.
If he is thinking about being the best and starts believing he's the best, pretty soon he starts scratching his ears out here like this. And that's death. So once you start getting a big head and you believe you're too good, then you will get beat. As long as you keep trying to play well, climb a mountain, try to feel like he's trying to get better, trying to be smart, being consistent, and playing what he thinks is the best golf he can play at that particular time. That's when you play well. Not when you're sitting there and say, oh, I'm really this good, I can do that. No. I never thought that one time when I played. I always felt like, hey, I got 144 guys or whatever it might be out there to play. I've got to play well to beat them. Once I got myself in a position, then to win, then you got to be smart about how you finish it, and that's the way he's playing. He reminds me so much of the way I like to play, and I don't think I played nearly as well as he played. He's played better than I played, and more consistent. He's just been playing fantastic, and I love watching him play, and whether it's here or on television or whatever it is, I love watching. Anytime he's playing, I want to watch.
Scottie just mentioned it, but when you sit back for a moment and you consider what we're listening to right now, what we're watching, and you've got Jack Nicklaus talking about a player that's playing great right now in Scottie Scheffler. And I think most of us believe that Scottie Scheffler is capable of continuing his ascent, if for no other reason than what they were just talking about, where Scottie seems unaffected. It doesn't appear as though Scotty's self-image has been altered by the success that he's having on the golf course, which would suggest that that's a bridge that he'll continue to cross in terms of the success that he will continue to have, because he's not being consumed by that success or by that moment. That's how I interpret what Mr. Nicklaus was just talking about. And it's funny because I mentioned to you that yesterday at Golf's Longest Day, which I'll talk about in the next segment. Someone I want to go over with you who actually got in and where we stand with that, as it's a very critically important day and a fun day too. But I had a chance to talk with a lot of people, and we got into this conversation. And these are tour players. These are people that have won on the PGA Tour. We got into this conversation about Jack Nicklaus, and that as Mr. Nicklaus stopped playing and got into his late 50s. Remember, at 58, he still was a factor in the Masters, still was a factor in the U.S. Open. Think about that, in the late 90s. But as he got into his 60s and beyond, he kind of became this grandfatherly Jack Nicklaus. And he's always been very, very good at ensuring that he pays respect to whoever's current. Right? In that case, the dominant player was Tiger Woods. And the discussion about the argument, if you please, about who's the best player of all time comes down to two players right now. It's either Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, or Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods. And because of the nature of, call it the Tiger machine, if you will, over this period of time, which is now 25, 30 years that I'm talking about, Jack Nicklaus, I think, has been overshadowed by Tiger because Tiger's current. Right. And I'm not trying to debate with you which one of those positions, first or second or first, that you want to put each one respectively. I'm just saying that when you have something happening right before your eyes, it's natural that that's a thing that you focus on. And in so doing, sometimes you forget the significance of what came before it. The fact that we have Mr. Nicklaus here with us, sitting with Scottie Scheffler in this case, and we get to hear from him and his thoughts. And I would encourage you that if you have any curiosity about what I'm talking about, just go online and do some research into what Mr. Nicklaus accomplished. And it is absolutely stunning, absolutely amazing. Part of that is this understanding that when you look at some great players and some current great players, it almost seems like Thursday is a practice round. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I mean it from the standpoint that it's a warm-up round, and then they come charging from the end. And many times they close from the end because they have such immense talent. Well, Scottie Scheffler and Jack Nicklaus spoke about, I'll call it, Thursday intensity.
Yeah, I never worried about putting. I felt I would make my percentage. I didn't need to. If I knocked it close to the holes, I'd knock some of them in. I didn't worry about if I missed some. You missed some. You missed some today. You missed some yesterday. You missed some all week. But you made a lot too. He gave himself enough chances that he didn't have to be special with a putter, just to be good, solid with it.
Yeah, I think the way I look at tournaments is, 72 holes is a lot of golf. And early in my career, I felt like I didn't bring enough intensity to the first couple rounds. Like, I would bring a lot of intensity on Saturday and Sunday, but I was always kind of on the outside looking in when it came to leaderboards. And that's one thing that Tiger, I think, was really good at was bringing that level of intensity to each and every shot. I mean, I've never seen
Thursday.
Hungry.
Started the tournament with it.
Yeah.
He was really good at it.
And that's something I've always tried to emulate. I never got to play with Mr. Nicklaus, but I'd assume that was probably a pretty similar thought process that he brought to each round. I mean, if you're going to play 72 holes, I mean, how many shots they hit this week? 278?
278.
278. I mean, that's a lot of shots. And I mean,
and the first 70 better be good ones too, right?
Yeah, the first 70 matter as much as the last one. And
that's right.
I mean, each tournament week feels like a marathon, especially when you're playing a difficult golf course like this. And so it's more important to just stay in the proper headspace and try and hit shots and kind of go from there.
The reason why we chose these cuts is because of the sense that you have that Scottie Scheffler and Jack Nicklaus almost seem like they're sitting at a table having a conversation and we're just in the other chair. That's the epitome of the type of sound that we love to share with you. Here's Scottie Scheffler's stretch, his last 32 events. Just let this breathe for a second. 11 wins, including 2 majors, a gold medal, a Players, a Tour Championship, and a FedEx Cup. That's just the last 32 events. That's why you didn't see the 2 players on there. 26 top 10s. In 2025 so far, 12 events, 3 wins, a major championship, and 9 top tens. And that's with an admittedly slow start to 2025 after he had the injury with the wine glass that broke and cut his hand at Christmas. In 2024, he played 20 events. He had 8 wins, a major championship, and 17 top tens. Incredibly impressive.